that Nicaragua is going through is unprecedented in peacetime. So in that context, it has become very clear that independent media are the last line of defense of an open society. And I think that that is very well reflected in two things. First of all, in how fiercely the Ortega government has attacked independent media. I think it reflects a common understanding of that importance, but also in the response of the Nicaraguan public towards the work of independent journalists, which has really been very valued in this context. So we would like to take this a step further, and we think that independent media is not only the last line of defense now that we are in a crisis, but that it should also be one of the first building blocks of a more open, more free, more democratic society once we get the opportunity to transition. And this is definitely very well connected to the UN Sustainable Development Goals. For example, UN Development Goal 16 around justice and peace, it really recognizes the fact that freedom of expression and freedom of the press are both a goal, but also an enabler for other goals. And the whole framework recognizes this very well. And we are very much in tune with this understanding of the role of independent media in building up a strong citizenship, a critical citizenship, a citizenship that can have reliable information and analysis to sort of make up its own mind, to claim a much more active role in building a society where power is more decentralized, where power actors, both economic and political, are held accountable, and where the interests of communities and the sustainable development goals around these are really built from the base up through participation and a clear understanding of what the priorities of a given society or community should be. So we are very much in line with this. We are very committed to this goal of empowering the citizenship and holding power accountable. And we think that that's what makes independent media outlets the last line of defense and the first building block of our open society in the future.
But what kind of aid would you need at this point in time?
So this makes me think a lot of another Sustainable Development Goal, which is Sustainable Development Goal 17, around partnerships for development. I think that at this point in time, maybe there are two main tracks that are really important. Number one has to do with security and safety of journalists. So how can we leverage global partnerships that include technology that has been developed by the private sector for cybersecurity? How do you include also experiences from civil society around the world in terms of monitoring attacks against freedom of the press, so that decision makers at the international level can really understand what's going on? So that's, in those two lines, I think there's work to be done to engage civil society across countries, private sector and technology companies specifically, and cybersecurity companies more specifically across different countries. And that's one line of work. Another line of work has to do with the viability. So what's the viability of independent media in this context where the Nicaraguan economy is also collapsing, where a lot of us have been forced into exile, and we don't really have strong long-term sustainability perspectives. So what kind of support can come in order to help us build these sustainability models that are necessary for us to keep on doing our work? And I might add a third one that has to do with, so in the face of greater and greater censorship, how can we leverage technology, knowledge that has been developed either private sector or civil society in other areas of the world? How can we take this kind of technology and knowledge and use it to strengthen the capabilities of journalists, for example, around open source analysis of photos that are in social media? How do you turn that into rigorous reporting for journalism? Or how do you use payment systems to build membership models that can help support independent media outlets? Or how do you use new technology to distribute content and defeat government censorship? All these kind of things, I see a great opportunity for knowledge exchange, for technical assistance, but also for some kind of seed capital, if you will, in order for independent media outlets to be able to acquire technology and tools that better prepare us to face these circumstances.
What could people in Holland, or organizations or